And when things change, people can feel left behind or like they don't count anymore. And when things they liked, or things that gave them status or a feeling of home disappear, I think as we all know, when that happens, folks don't just experience loss, right? They feel loss and also hurt. And so if you do not provide them with avenues to say, I am hurting, if you do not recognize their hurt, they will make themselves seen and known through the next natural means available. They will shout, I hate. And soon, we're in a fight. But here's the thing, right? I don't think most of us want to fight. That's not where we go most quickly. We just, I think, on the deepest level, just do not want to be left behind. We want someone, simply but profoundly, to see and care about our hurt. And friends, I'll admit it right away, I may, like everyone else, just be projecting my own preconceived notions on the Occupy Wall Street gang. But as I've been looking and listening, this is what stood out for me. You see, I do not, as I've looked and watched and read, I do not see a protest of ignorance or disorganization, nor do I see a protest of anger. I see, when I look, a shout of collective pain. A shout of collective pain. Take again that slogan, the we are the 99%. This too, I think, is being radically misread, or maybe better put, it's being, I think, not fully read. It's being described even by some of the protesters as a warning, right? Especially as it's held high, sort of in the faces of all those folks up in their offices of power and privilege. Watch out, right? Those signs seem to say there are a lot more of us than there are of you. And no doubt that's what surely is intended to some degree by the sign, we are the 99% held high. But I think on another level, and even on a more important level, I think it voices an additional message, one that may be unconscious, but is still no less important or no less at play. You see, when I see those signs, right, held high up into those offices, I hear them saying, no matter what particular thing happens to be written on those signs, I hear those signs saying, look at us. Not a finger pointed this way, but more of a finger pointed back down at us. Look at us. Look down here for once. Dare to witness our pain. Just once. And also, we deserve to be seen. Friends, it seems to me, that is not, right, an angry battle cry, as much as I think it is a declaration of worth. A declaration of worth, and maybe even more than that, maybe it's also a declaration, I think, of a discovery of worth. And to see that most clearly, a discovery of worth, I think you've got to go to the videotape, the YouTube videos. I don't know if you've all had a chance to look at the YouTube videos about Occupy Wall Street. Anybody had a chance? There's dozens of them out there, only a few. If you haven't, these are something that I really do encourage you to get on YouTube and watch these videos. These are videos in which they interview the actual protesters themselves. It's the most direct way to understand and listen to them rather than hearing secondhand what other people are saying about them or how other people are framing them. It's something I think we all really have to do. And what I hope you notice most when you go watch those videos is how many of those people interviewed do not pontificate or blame or even vent, but simply and calmly share their story. For instance, one gentleman said, I'm here. I'm here because I work 2 jobs and still find myself having to choose monthly between paying the rent and feeding my kids. Another, I'm here because I played by the rules, got a college degree, and took out the recommended amount of loans, but now can't find that supposed job out there that everyone said would allow me to get out from under that debt. I'm here because I'm 65 and laid off and no one will hire the old guy anymore. I'm here because I got sick during that 1 year. That 1 year I couldn't pay for health insurance. I'm here because I helped my kids get through college, but it required sacrificing my own retirement. I'm here because I'm homeless. I'm here because my mortgage is underwater. I'm here because I'm doing fine, but everywhere else I look all around me, people are not. And often when you also listen to the folks down there, you'll hear the stats. 16 to 20% of Americans out of work, depending on the way you calculate it. 15% of American households, many working households, living in poverty, which translates to 22% of all American children right now living in poverty. That's the one that hits me, I think, the most. Think about that. 22% of all American children right now are living in poverty. And yes, no doubt about it, of course, when what often gets tacked on to these people sharing is indeed some blame of other people. But I think you have to be deaf or callous or both not to hear in between those lines a more important and I think more fundamental declaration that it's not my fault. And let me be very careful here so I'm not misunderstood this morning. When I say that I hear people expressing that it's not my fault, I'm not talking about people trying to weasel out of responsibility, nor am I talking about David Brooks's obscenely concocted thing about people wanting to paint themselves as pure and blameless victims. Oh, these folks, if you listen to them carefully, they know they bear responsibility, they know they've made some choices, they wish they hadn't. Now, what they are expressing, I think, is something much more complex. It's more of an epiphany than an effort to shift blame. They are voicing a new and profound awareness that it is not all my fault. In other words, I don't hear them making an argument as much as talking out loud about something that they are just now, for the first time maybe, getting in their heads and deep in their hearts. Yeah. I hear them saying, yeah, I could have and probably should have done some things differently, but I also think now that the game was rigged. I'm also feeling now that the game was rigged. And here, friends, out of everything that I've said this morning and talked about so far is, I think, the most important characteristic of this movement, whose larger significance is so easy to miss and is being missed. Those brave folks, and they are brave, those brave folks camped out in those parks now all around this country, I believe, are disavowing shame. Disavowing shame. Let me try to explain that a little bit more. So think along with me, right? For many years now, pundits and cultural analysis, left-leaning activists, and even many of us have been wringing our hands and asking, why hasn't a protest movement like this emerged sooner, Why haven't the hurting and the struggling risen up before now, or spoken up or demanded change? And along the way, many answers have been given, but the most common one we've heard is that the reason why we haven't all risen up is because we secretly believe that someday we will be rich. Right? Isn't that the one you've heard most often? Yes, I need a little energy back to know that I'm not the only one hearing that. That's been the dominant explanation. No one, this logic goes, no one wants to mobilize against or change the system because we all secretly believe that one day we will be able to play the system to our advantage. We've remained silent, the logic goes, silent about the injustice and silent about our own situation because one day we think we will be the ones on top. A baloney. And I'd say something stronger if we weren't in church. Right? As I've said, I think even from this pulpit before, when I've been down or struggling, right, I don't secretly believe I will one day be on top. And you, when you've been down or struggling, do you secretly believe you one day will be on top? Here's your chance. Anybody? One. All right, that's good. Diversity, we welcome it here. It's good. Right? I don't believe that I'll be one day on top. You don't believe that secretly you'll one day be on top. Your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, they don't secretly believe that they will one day be on top, and that's not why they're out there. No, the reason I think that so many of us stay silent when we struggle is that on some very deep level, we believe those struggles are